When we reached Mid-City in St. Peter, Phyllis turned the Chrysler at PJ's and pulled up behind the Mike and Tony carport a block and a half later. Then she spoke again and said she'd no doubt be visiting Carol later in the day, around dinner time, and asked did I want to go with her. As a reflex, for the most part not answering the question, I used an optimistic voice and confusedly said maybe. Okay, Michael, I'll call you. Pause. And try not to think about Tony too much. Get yourself some sleep. We'll get together later. Yeah, you too. We would talk later in the day after sleep had put a little more water in the glass. Phyllis drove up the street and into her driveway. St. Peter Street was quiet, though racing cars could be heard out in front on Orleans. The back door wasn't locked, and I entered the apartment through the kitchen, for the first time since 7 p.m. Thursday. The temperature had dropped overnight from the high pressure, and the apartment was cool and crisp. Good sleeping weather. Later in the day, it would be sunny and 70-something. A good end to a somewhat muggy week. Thanks to the bedroom's open window coolness, sleep came easily in a sheet and cotton blanket until mid-afternoon. The only thing I did before locking down into bed for the day was make a call to EdTech. I asked the receptionist to give the boss a message. I'd been involved in a serious car accident the night before and had lost a close friend. Simple. Make sure the message has gravity and provide the painful details only if necessary at a later time. As a hangover precaution, I drank a few glasses of water from the tap in the bathroom and also shed all clothing to make the sleep efficient. At 2 p.m. I heard the light metallic slap of the brass mail slot, followed by the soft, slippery sound of the mail stack hitting the floor and spreading out. For about an hour I stayed in bed. The apartment, the street were quiet. I was rested and felt relaxed. The effect wore off around 3. A mild anxiety crept in for the new surreal condition of things. I asked myself the necessary questions. The post-nap, post-drinking, self-interview session. Is Carol really in the hospital? Is Phyllis really going to see her later? Did I dream it? And what about Tony? Is he, dead? It was almost funny how ridiculous it all sounded. If yes, if indeed the things I had heard were true, then what does a guy do? A reasonable guy, a thoughtful guy. Would I go back to Jefferson Parish to see Carol with Phyllis later in the day? Maybe I didn't need to. For sure the experience would be on the heavy side. And more to the point, why would they want me there? Truly, how well did we know each other? Not that well, really. And besides, it's quiet here, I said to myself, regressing to a state of lonerhood. No disturbances, no distractions, no noisy traffic, no noises whatsoever. In fact, no noisy neighbors either. No interruptions, no tools going clackety-clack, no front door shutting hard, no boot scuffing echoing through the walls, no boot scuffing that afternoon anyway. But was it true? None of these things later, either? So I'd heard. Just an empty apartment waiting for its person to return, to pick up where they left off. Rifle through the fridge, shuffle the new mail, pick up a t-shirt. An apartment with food in the cabinets, clothes in the closets, and trash in the trash cans. Can Tony actually be gone? Are you gone, Tony? What's the story? If I could have slept all day, all night, and all the next day, I might have. But I sensed it was time to get out of bed and get a grip. Just to confirm things, I checked the carport and there was nothing on the other side of the low fence. The word from Phyllis on the answering machine around 6 was that the plan was for Carol to come home Saturday. But as Phyllis later updated, Carol's nausea lingered all day Saturday into Saturday night. The doctors said she had to try to eat something before they'd let her go. So they kept her another night. Phyllis said it was smart. Sunday morning, the phone rang early. At 10, Phyllis pulled up on Orleans. At the hospital, the doctor took Phyllis aside and told her she should watch Carol closely for a while. He was worried about the post-trauma stress bit and said she'd only eaten half a hard-boiled egg and a few crackers since midday Friday. In her room, we encountered Carol folding hospital clothes and straightening out the bed. She looked thinner, maybe 5 or 8 pounds lighter, maybe 10. She was also somewhat yellow, but all considered, she looked fine. She was facing the direction of the door, but continued to fold and didn't make eye contact. I was respectably quiet for a moment, but knew standing there mute wasn't a great idea either. "What you doing there?" I offered a bit chipperly. "Good morning," she answered slowly, with a light droning on the word morning, the way an unhappy coworker might say it in the hallway. She drifted a look in our direction, but returned her eyes to the bed smoothly. I made sure not to fidget too much and waited for a signal. "Hey, Carol," I started, thinking of something more significant I could offer. "Hey, whatever you need, say the word and I'll take care of it." Phyllis went to the padded chair by the window and grabbed what I figured to be Carol's duffel bag. Phyllis had collected a few things and brought them to Carol Friday night. "Let's get you out of here, sweetie," Phyllis said gently. Carol nodded. "Yes, let's." Halfway to the door, Carol turned with a faint, quick smile and nodded, mostly for my benefit. "I'm serious. Whatever you need." Pushy and cheesy or not, they felt like the right words to use at the time. Perhaps implied by my mere presence and unnecessary, but said nevertheless for the sake of the saying.